A young man going somewhere was the way the old-timers at the Chicago Daily News described overeager cub reporters like John Gunther. In 1924, a couple of years out of the University of Chicago, John was dashing between bank robberies, fires, gangster shootouts, and Rotary Club luncheons. Those were the sorts of stories the lowest guy on the totem pole got assigned at the city's main afternoon paper. But John had already set his sights much higher. He wanted a job at the Daily News's bureau in London. He was fed up with America, its hypocrisy, philistinism, and cant, the prohibition that didn't really prohibit, the moral regeneration spearheaded by charlatans like the evangelist Amy Semple McPherson, the corruption and graft bubbling up under the veneer of post-war normalcy. But the post-war disillusionment that had settled over much of American youth was only part of what was ailing John. For more than 2 years, 2 fruitless, unavailing years, he'd been trailing around after Helen Hahn, a local belle. He made small talk with her father, ate dinners with her family, sent her letters and books when he was away. John was constant, but Helen, a blonde stunner, was fickle. Mostly she liked to string him along, touching his arm while they talked, her big blue eyes gazing into his. He'd paid for one of her abortions, though the kid definitely wasn't his, which even at the time struck him as the sort of thing only a chump would do. He knew he had to flee. The arrival of the British writer Rebecca West in Chicago in November 1923 was a beacon from the sophisticated old world beckoning to the new. West was Britain's most notorious modern woman, a novelist, journalist, and feminist who had just wrenched herself free from an affair with the writer H.G. Wells, immensely famous, 26 years her senior, and married. When John and Rebecca met one evening at the University of Chicago, she was a well-seasoned 30. He, a decidedly tender 22. She was on her first American lecture tour, addressing audiences on such racy subjects as polygamy. There wasn't a man living who could gratify 4 or 5 women, Rebecca had insisted. There are many men who cannot make even one woman happy. For years, Rebecca had been eager to see America, but when she arrived in New York, she wasn't all that impressed. "This whole place strikes me as a greedy children's party," she wrote her sister, appalled by the relentless getting and spending. Chicago was different. In its swagger and newness, it wasn't like any place she had ever seen. From her room at the Drake Hotel, she marveled at the never-ending lake, its gray-green wintry water tugged by millions of waves. The skyscrapers looked like enormous gasoline cans, stolid but lacking in grace. A wholly new shopping street, Michigan Avenue, had been whipped up as swiftly as a Hollywood set. Between the business district and the miles upon miles of identical brick houses rising raw out of the prairie, wobbled an elevated railway, north, south, and west.